Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all. Welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and the X Zone is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and a growing family of broadcast affiliates around the world. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And of course, on Simul TV, you can watch the X Zone TV channel. That's channel 32 on simultv.com. My first guest tonight, X Zone Nation, is Gary Parker. He's in Arizona, and we're going to be talking to Gary about something very strange, something very unusual, but something that NASA has done in the past. And if they've done it in the past and they've done it in the present, they're going to do it in the future. So let's talk to Gary in, Arizona. And Gary, welcome to the X Zone.
Rob, thanks a lot for having me on.
Gary, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm a small-time real estate developer in Phoenix, and I've been out here for about 8 years. And before that, I was a screenwriter in Los Angeles. Sold a couple screenplays, had one movie made, and that's pretty much it.
Tell us about this photo that you found and what led up to this photo. I'm not going to tell the listeners what the photo's about yet, because I know when we do, they're just going to be riveted already to their radios and their TVs. So tell us about this photo, how you found it, and where you found it.
Well, what happened was a couple years ago, I had I had an idea to restore the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, to actually restore it. And I contacted a couple of billionaires, Sir Richard Branson and Elon Musk. I emailed them and I told them what I wanted to do, and they said, "Gary, we love this idea." And you might say, "Well, Gary, how do you know Elon Musk and Sir Richard Branson?" Well, I don't, but I know some movie producers who knew them. Right. And I pitched the story to the producers, and they said, "Look, we love this idea. Restoring the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx would be great." And I said, awesome. So I emailed Sir Richard Branson and Elon Musk, and they emailed me back and they said, "Gary, this is a great idea. We would love to be part of it." So what happened was I said, "Well, this is great." I said, "Fantastic." So then I went to the NASA website in order to see where you can put men and machinery on the Giza Plateau. So what happened was most people don't do this, but the photos at NASA are taken by the International Space Station, and it's 200 miles above Earth. And actually, there's an astronaut that uses a huge camera, and they take pictures. Well, they took this one picture, and the picture is actually it's the ISS 032-E-009123. That's the International Space Station number for the photo. So what I did was I zoomed in on the photo. As I zoomed in on the photo, most people don't. They just look at it from a distance on the website. And I saw some ancient writing. And I said, "Oh, my God, what is that?" But you got to remember, from 200 miles above, when you zoom in, those letters are about 80 stories tall. So I wrote them down. I sent them to a Judaic scholar down at the University of Arizona here in Arizona, and I said, "Can you translate these for me?" And he did. And he said, "Where did you find these?" I said, "I found them in a NASA photo." And he said, "Come down to the university and show me where you found it." So I showed it to him, and he said, "Gary, this is too far out there." He said, "Those shouldn't be there." And he actually accused me of putting the ancient Judaic script in the photo. I said, and I told him, I said, "Professor, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to write ancient Hebrew." So anyway, long story longer, that's how I found it. And then other things happened, and I discovered some images in the photo. Did you have a question, Rob?
Yeah, well, I'd just like to go back a little bit. This photo was taken from the ISS, am I correct?
The International Space Station, yes.
Okay, now that is in orbit over the planet Earth at approximately 200 miles. Am I correct so far?
Above Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
And the photo that you were looking at, or that you discovered, was taken by an astronaut on board the ISS with a camera on the ISS pointed at Mars. Am I right so far?
Oh no, pointed at the Earth.
Oh, at the Earth. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
It was pointed at, as a matter of fact, at the Giza Plateau in Egypt.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So take us from there. So you okay, hold on here.
Go ahead.
There was writing on the photo that you took on the Giza Plateau from that was officially taken by NASA from the ISS, right?
Yes, on July 26, 2012.
What did the writing say in English that was
that was translated?
Yeah.
The first thing that I showed the Judaic scholar, he said it said, God and the Lord of the underworld. And he said to me, he said, Gary, this is taken from 200 miles above Earth. Those letters have to be enormous, and they were enormous. As you zoom in, you see how big they are. They're gigantic. But the other ones that were right beside the Great Pyramid, the letters, actually said, I am that I am, creator of all things.
Okay, so where did this writing come from? Because something that big would be noticed not only from 200 miles above, but also be noticed by airline pilots that are flying over the area, the military, other satellite imaging processes. So where did this writing come from, since nobody else could see it?
Well, that's funny you asked that, because what happens is in 2002, there was a Fox Network special. It was called Inside the Great Pyramid. Do you remember that at all?
Yes.
It was about the Great Pyramid, and they sent a robot up the Queen's chamber, the shaft of the Queen's chamber, and they hit a block. Do you remember this story?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And what they did was they drilled a hole into the block. The shaft went up 220 feet, and they drilled a hole into the shaft, and they sent a camera in. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yes, but I do remember the show.
Okay. Well, what happened was that set off specific events that happened after that. What happens is, and I don't want to get too far away from the stuff I was telling you earlier, but the Great Pyramid is a machine, and it can detect technology. The Great Pyramid runs on solar. And what happened is, at that time, what happens is the Great Pyramid would vibrate. It still vibrates today, but it's at such a low vibration, the human ear, and we can't feel it. And I have been to the Great Pyramid in 2019. So anyway, what happens is it was vibrating for 10 years, and it built all these images that I can show you on the NASA photo. And what happened was there's hundreds of thousands of ancient Hebrew words written in the Great Pyramid. In the NASA photo. Okay, the NASA photo is 4 levels. It has 4 levels to it. I've taken it over at Arizona State University. I've met with hundreds of people. They all see it. They all accuse me of putting the letters there, which I didn't. Anyway, back to the story. What happens is it vibrated for 10 years, and it built a ton of images. And when I say images, I'm talking about the Old and New Testament. And it's both the Old and New Testament are in one photo. And it's this photo that NASA took down from their website.
Now, what I'd like you to do, Gary, if it's okay with you, could you send me that photo, and we'll put it up on a website where all our listeners can actually go and see what we're talking about.
Yes, or Yes, I can definitely do that. I can send it to you. That's not a problem.
Okay.
But they also have to go, in order to see it. Now, let me just tell you this, Rob.
Sure.
It's really a bizarre thing, and you have to follow my instructions in order to see it. I've been working on this now for 7 years. Okay?
My goodness.
Yeah. But I know it inside and out, and all this stuff in Jerusalem, in Israel and Hamas and all these things that are happening in Gaza, all this stuff has to do with all the biblical things, okay, about God returning and all this stuff, okay? So if you allow me, I'll tell your listeners to go to this website.
Okay.
The website, well, it's actually on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And all they have to do is go to YouTube and type in the word how, H-O-W, how to see God, the Garden of Eden, and the third temple. And it will. And I'm on that. I'm on a video there, and I'm explaining how to use your laptop computer. You have to have a laptop computer in order to see all levels of the NASA photo. And what happens is all they have to do is watch that video. It's only 13 minutes. Watch it. Use your laptop, and you'll be able to see everything. But you have to be patient. You have to zoom in and out. Rob, I know this sounds completely nuts, but it really works. And like I said, I've shown it here in Phoenix. I've met with 30 rabbis. I've met with 20 priests, and they all freak out. And they say, Gary, we're not going to believe this. This is impossible. Well, it's not impossible, because if people know anything about religion, there was a guy named Abraham. And Abraham never saw God, but God showed him a photo. Mm-hmm. That's what God showed Abraham, and this is the photo he showed him. And I know it's amazing, but you're talking about beings that are billions of years ahead of us. They're more evolved. Anyway, go ahead. Ask me a question.
I'm just going to make a statement here because we've got to take our first break, Gary. Please stand by, X Zone Nation. Gary Parker's our special guest in Phoenix, Arizona, and when we come back, more of this amazing story. As the X Zone continues right here on the from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV, and on Simul TV, Channel 32. That is the X Zone TV channel that runs 7/24, 365 right around the world. Gary Parker and I return. Don't go away. I'm Rob McConnell, and welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Today on the X Zone, the Great Lakes Triangle of North America. Found in the heartland of North America, these landlocked yet connected lakes, which eventually empty into the Atlantic Ocean, have become the scene of more mysteries involving ships, aircraft, people, UFOs, ghosts, and phantom ships than the Bermuda Triangle. 1/16 the size of the Bermuda Triangle, Lady John Graves Simcoe was the first European to chronicle the strange orbs of life that have been seen above and below the waters of Lake Ontario. First Canadians tell of great cities which surrounded the Great Lakes where men flew without wings. The Great Lakes Triangle of North America, one of the world's greatest mysteries, right in our own backyard.
I'm sick of being alone. When are you coming home? Just a glimpse of your face. I can remember smelling your hair. I'll meet you anywhere, somewhere that no one can retrace, somewhere where no one will know our faces. She has 2 arms to hold me and 4 legs to wrap around me. She's not your typical girlfriend. She's my alien.
XZone@XZoneRadioTV.com is my email address on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV, and to find out about all the great programming we have available for you on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net. Gary Parker's our special guest, and we're talking about photography. Photography from out of this world? Who knows? Gary, so just let me try to do a recap here.
Sure.
Okay.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah. Astronauts in the ISS take a picture over Egypt. In that picture, that was taken 200 miles above the planet, you discovered that there is ancient Hebrew writing in this photograph. And you brought the photo to scholars, you brought the photos to rabbis and other members of religious philosophies, and they basically had heart attacks because what you found out was truly startling. And Gary, tell our listeners one more time what the ancient Hebrew text said into English.
Well, the first bit actually said God and the Lord of the underworld. That was the first bit.
Mm-hmm.
The second bit was I am that I am, creator of all things.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild. But here's the deal though, Rob. Everybody, all your listeners, and I'm sure you've heard of the apocalypse.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Sure you have. But the correct definition for apocalypse is to uncover or reveal divine mysteries. That's the definition of the apocalypse. To reveal or uncover divine mysteries. The NASA photo is the apocalypse. But when I say is the apocalypse, no, there's going to be an event that's going to happen very, very soon, actually. But what will happen is these beings that are in the NASA photo will appear on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem.
Okay, let's roll the tape back here because you just said the beings. Now, prior to just now, all we were talking about were these letters and the script. Where did the beings come in this picture?
Oh, what happens is in the photo they show there's a huge alien, huge. He's gigantic. Okay, and like I said, I shot I made it myself. It was a short 52-second video showing how to find and see this huge alien in the NASA photo. Okay, so, and it's, like I said, only 52 seconds long, and I think I emailed it to you a few days ago, but I know you guys are busy. So you'll be able to see him, and that being's name is El. And you might say, well, Gary, how do you know his name is El, which is spelled E-L? Because it's written beside him in the photo.
Now, L-E-L, does that have anything to do with the word Elohim?
Yes, exactly. That Elohim, El Shaddai, all those L's are one God, are one being, and his name is El. And like I said, when you take a look at the video I made showing how to find him, you will see him, and you'll say, "Oh my gosh, this is Gary's right. He's telling the truth." So yes, his name is El. And here's the other thing too: is you have to, like I said, watch my video on YouTube, and you'll be able to see. This is going to sound really weird, Rob, but it's true. El and Jesus are the same being. So you're going to see a giant alien, and when you do something with your laptop computer, Jesus is going to appear inside of El. It's really bizarre, but it's really exciting.
So does this mean that Jesus was an alien?
Well, you know what? No, physically he was human, okay?
Okay.
But what he did in the photo, and everything I'm telling everybody here, it's all in the photo. This is where it's all in the photo.
One photo.
In the photo, one photo shows everything. I mean, everything. Everything that you can possibly imagine in the Old and the New Testament. But what happens is Jesus, father was Joseph, mother was Mary, but Jesus had 8 souls, and 7 of those were alien souls. And it's really weird, but if you can see him in the photo, you will see him on the cross, and you will be able to see his souls. It's really bizarre.
That's a lot of information for one photo.
But I'm sorry, a lot of information for what?
From one photo.
The photo is infinite. The photo is amazing. It's so deep. Like I said, there's 4 levels to it. Once I show you how to see them, you will see everything. But it's taken me 7 years to figure this out.
What software do you use to decode?
No software.
No software.
No.
Let me play the devil's advocate. Oh, that's not a nice word to use around this hour, is it?
No,
anyway, let me.
As a matter of fact, he is in the photo, but his, even worse than him, is the Lord of the Underworld. So it's God and the Lord of the Underworld. Go ahead.
How come this photo? How come this one photo contains all this information? And why are you the person that was able to demystify or decode it?
Yeah, I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's really kind of a wild story. 10 minutes before I was born, my mother has told me the story her whole life. She's 91 years old. Every birthday I've had, she's always told me. She said, Gary, when you hear these words, it means something. And I said, okay, I don't know what that meant, but she told me 10 minutes before I was born, she passed out and found herself sitting in a room. It was just sitting in a dark room, just sitting there. And she heard a voice come to her, and the voice was a man's voice. And it said to her, the voice said 3 times, where did you come from? Where did you really come from? So after that happened to her, ever since I can remember, since I was like 5 or 6, she told me that story. And she said, Gary, if you ever hear the words, where did you come from? Where did you really come from? Pay attention to it. It means something. So about 7 years ago, after I came up with the idea to restore the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, I was asleep, and I sleep like a rock. I barely even move. And
lucky
what happens
you.
is I hear can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can. I just said, lucky you.
Anyway, yes, I'm very fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate. And I've actually had girlfriends say to me, you never move when you sleep. But anyway, it's weird.
Well,
weird.
if that's the only place you don't move, Gary, don't worry about it.
Exactly. That's what I figure. So what happens is I'm asleep one night, and it was right after the next day after I heard, after I came up with the idea to restore the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, and all of a sudden, it's like I said, I'm sound asleep, and I hear this voice says, "Hey, Gary," and I said, "What?" Like in my sleep, I said, "What?"
Right.
And they said, "Where did you come from? Where did you really come from?" And I sat up. I sat up in bed and I said, "Oh my God, those are the words." So what happens is then the next night, the same voice came to me and said, "Go to the river. Go to the river. There's a river right down here in Phoenix called the Gila River, Gila River, at the Gila Indian River Reservation." And they said, "Stand in the water, face left, and scream out these words in Hebrew." So they told me the words in my dream. So I got up, I wrote them down real quick, but I don't speak Hebrew. So I called a rabbi here in Phoenix, and I said, Can you tell me how to translate these words? He said, sure. So I went down to the river, stood in the water, faced east, put my hands up, and I made a connection.
What were the words?
What's that?
What were the words?
Well, they were this. There was a few of them, but it was actually El, Kiddosh, 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 Heineni, Heineni, Heineni. Now, I had to say that 3 times. And what that means is, El is God, okay? Kiddosh means holy, and Heineni means take me, I'm here. And that's what all the old prophets used to say when they would stand in the water. And I didn't know that until the rabbi told me. He goes, Gary, this is what the prophets used to say. I said, oh, my God. I said, this is amazing. So naturally, after I yelled it up, nothing happened. And I yelled up to the sky, and I said, hey, if there's anything you need me to do, if there's anything you need, I'll do it. Just keep feeding me this information, and I'll tell everybody I'll do whatever it takes. So there you go. That's what happened.
What information did they feed you?
Well, all of it really, well, there's a few things, but most of it, 99.9% came from the NASA photo. And my job is to make sure people see it and know what it is. And what was really funny was, and I think I told you earlier, before we got on the air that 2 weeks ago I had sent my video to 300 people at NASA. 300. The very next day, and when I say the video, it shows the photo of the Giza Plateau,
right? Yeah.
The International Space Station photo, and then it shows it goes to 5 different photos. Like click, and I circled the alien, and click. The very next day, NASA removed the photo from their website and replaced it with one that looks like it, but it's not the same one.
Gary, stand by. We've got to take our break. Exonation. Gary Parker is our special guest this hour. And when we return, more about, well, this very strange yet somewhat amazing story. We'll be back. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone, and I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And we'd like to welcome CFAJ Classic 1220 to the X Zone Nation as our affiliate in Southern Ontario. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV, and to watch the X Zone TV channel on Simul TV, we are channel 32. By the way, if you're into great music, like I am, I'm an old guy, I love the 60s, 70s, and 80s music, do yourself a favor. Jot down this website, www.classic1220.ca, and listen to my friends over at 1220 CFAJ. A great station, great people, and you're guaranteed to have a great time. Gary Parker's our special guest. And Gary, how do we classify the information that you're sharing with the world tonight? Gary, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you.
How would you classify the information that we're sharing tonight? Could we say that you're a modern-day prophet?
I really don't like saying that because I really don't think I'm that special. Yes, I know a lot of things, and I've been fed a lot of information, but I really don't like the word prophet because it makes me that would make me feel like I'm special, which I really don't think I am.
Gary, has anybody ever looked at you, heard your information, and then kind of said, "Well, Gary, you know what? You're a screenwriter. You've got friends in Hollywood who are producers. How do we know that this isn't some elaborate scheme to get a movie deal?"
Oh, that's funny. I never thought of that, but that'd be great if I got a movie deal. That'd be awesome.
But doesn't that? No, I guess what I was.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess what I was getting at, Gary, that your connection to Hollywood may put a rather negative spin on this story.
That's funny. Well, maybe, but I can't worry about that.
Okay.
I just got to plow ahead. Plus, it's never taken me 7 years to ever write a screenplay or to ever write it and sell it, or to do anything in my life. Never took me 7 years.
Yeah.
This has been an obsession. So take it for what it's worth.
7 years of hard work.
Well, none.
Yeah. I guess you would also say that there was 7 years of skepticism when it came to the story.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Non-stop.
Let me ask you this. How about the authorities, the CIA, Homeland Security? Have you contacted them, the FBI, and said, "Hey, guys, look what I found"?
All of them. I've contacted everybody you mentioned and more. But I actually did go down and I met with, in Tucson, there's an Air Force base, and they have a special investigations program. I went down there. I showed them what I had. They saw it, and then they never talked to me again.
Really?
Yes. And 2 weeks after that is when I sent my video to NASA, and I also sent it to SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Yep.
Sent it to all them. They're a guy named, I can't remember his first name, but last name is Shostak.
Oh, Seth. Seth Shostak, yeah.
Yeah, he said, hey, Gary, you got to get it published. We're not going to pay any attention to any of this stuff. Well, then, like I said, then when I sent it to NASA and they took the original photo off the website, and remember, it's been there since July 26, 2012.
That's a long time.
There you go. So I said, you know what? They saw it. I know they saw it. But that's, Rob, that's because I've never stopped. Not only have I sent it once or twice, I've sent it hundreds of times. FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, the Air Force, anybody that had a website or had an email address, I sent it to them.
How about the mainstream media? CNN, Fox, MSNBC?
Yes, they're not. I have sent it to I've sent it to hundreds of reporters. They're just not interested. They told him. They said, it's too much. It sounds too hokey. And I said, okay, all right. But I did have one person here in Phoenix that I showed it to. They saw it, and they wrote a story, but it was in a small paper. And this was about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it never went anywhere after that. It died. Then I thought, well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You would think with the world in turmoil as it is these days that something this fantastic and promising would be a light at the end of the tunnel, a guiding light, a light that shows promise, prosperity, and that we are not alone. And
exactly.
Yeah,
Rob, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I find it amazing that nobody's picked up this story and ran with it.
Well, there's two things. First of all, you're absolutely right. Second of all, it is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's an awesome light. Yeah. It's amazing. And I also, I hate to say this, but I really think that Elle and them don't want it known too fast or for it to be worldwide so quickly, to unfurl so quickly. They want it to be slow. Now, no one ever told me that, but like I said to you once before, or when we were off the air, I was told in a dream to go to Egypt and to go to Jerusalem. And in 2019, I went to both of those places, and it was amazing. And then in 2022, more dreams. They told me to go back to Jerusalem. I had to go to the city of David, which is right next, right there, just a little south of the main city of Jerusalem. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. Not yet, anyway. It's on my bucket list.
Okay, it's amazing. It will freak you out. It's great. Well, what they did was, in my dream, they told me, go to the city of David, stand in the Gihon Spring. Now, the Gihon Spring is the first spring that was ever discovered. Well, it's actually the main water source of Jerusalem from like 5,000 years ago. But it's still running today. It's still running. And they said, stand in the water and say those words that we told you to say the last time, which I did. And then they told me to go to the Golden Gate, which is right on the Temple Mount. And I was supposed to stand in front of the Golden Gate and say the words over the Kidron Valley, which is just east of the Temple Mount, which I did. And then they told me to go over to the Mount of Olives and say some more words. And I said, okay. So I did. Anyway, long story longer, nothing ever happened. But when I was in Jerusalem, both times I met with rabbis. Like I've met with I'm going to say 15. The two times I went 7 and 7. Anyway, 8 and 7. And I showed it to them. They saw it, and 3 of the rabbis started to cry. And I said, why are you crying? They said, because we're not ready for this. And I said, well, you better get ready because it's going to be here very soon. I mean, they were crying.
Wow.
They said, Gary, what you're saying is they're going to show up. I said, that's exactly what this is. And then they would never talk to me again after I left the office. So there you go. So that's what I've been dealing with for the past 7 years.
Gary, have you tried to contact a representative of the Vatican to see what the Vatican has to say about this?
That's wild that you asked me that. Yes, I did. I not only did I make contact with the now I say the Vatican. There's a thing called Mount Graham over here in Tucson. Okay, right, and the Vatican has a lot of their priests here that are astrologers and they're engineers, and they. So what I did was I contacted them and I talked to a bunch of them on the phone, and they said, Gary, we don't believe that. We're not going to believe that. I said, let me come down and show it to you. I said, I'll sit right beside you. I said, and I'll show you, and you'll see everything. Nah, we're not interested. That's what they said. Okay,
but what about the Vatican in Rome?
Well, actually, you got to remember that the Vatican in Rome has an astronomy guys and all that kind of stuff, but they would never return any of my emails. They just shut me down. And let me just say this: just 3 days ago, I re-emailed the people at the Vatican, but they just really don't. When you're nobody, they just hit delete. That's what happens. They hit delete. But the thing is, Rob, I never stop. I'm like the Terminator. I'm never going to stop.
You know what, Gary?
Go ahead.
I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea. I'll share it with you right now. Why not try and contact Tom Hanks?
Yeah, you know what? That sounds a little hokey.
Why?
It sounds very hokey. Because they really don't have any. Yes, I love Tom Hanks.
But didn't he do?
He's an actor.
All right, he's an actor, but he also did that movie based on Dan Brown's book, The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, I saw that not too long ago.
But
yeah,
at this stage of the game, Gary, you can't afford to be too picky on who you spread this story to.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's why I called you and I said, get me on your show, and you said, okay, let's give it a shot.
Right.
So I'm hoping you and the people who believe like you and the people who believe like me, I hope that they can see everything, and then all of a sudden we'll get a swell going, and everything will work out. And then when they show up on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, people won't freak out too much. People are going to freak out no matter what, but hopefully no one will be jumping off of their rooftops and killing themselves.
Is it possible that the leaders of the world actually know this information, and this is why the alien, ET, UFO information is being suppressed?
Yeah, probably. You absolutely. Without a doubt. But L and his people put this in the NASA photo for everyone to see, because all you have to do is download the photo. Now, let me also say this about the photo.
Okay, before you go on, I've got to take my final break, so please stand by. Fascinating story, Exo Nation. Are you a skeptic or are you a believer? Well, we're going to post the link to the YouTube video on our websites. Take a look at it. Examine it. Follow what the YouTube video tells you to do, and then you yourself, the members of the Exo Nation, send me an email. Tell me what you think. Exxon at exxonradiotv.com is my email address, and I'm interested to hear what you say, Exo Nation, as I always am. Gary Parker and I will be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in beautiful St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada.
Well, I just got back from Roswell, where the aliens have been. And if you ask the feds the cause, well, they'll only lie again. Now I'm hunted by the gumshoes, and I'm wanted by the cops, 'cause they think that I might be the guy making circles in the crops. And I know that there's a conspiracy from the voices in my head. Elvis lives, that's clear to me. It's McCartney who is dead. And if the Mars man should come again and take me, I will go. I will take a trip on their rocket ship. God bless the UFO. Give JFK this message. It's the Cuban Army's fault. And I know that Dave Koresh is alive inside a vault. We've seen reports in papers of a guy who knows about a car that runs on chewing gum, but the Arabs rubbed him out. And we loudly warn that America is badly unprepared. With the Cold War through, we need something new that can get you good and scared. Do you wonder just who is warning you of conspiracies today? We're the ones who fill the rumor mill. We are the CIA.
When I think back on all the crap I learned in high school, it's a wonder I can think at all. And my lack of education hasn't hurt me none. I can read the writing on the wall. Kodachrome, give us those nice bright colors. Give us the green.
Exo Nation, our guest this hour is Gary Parker, and we're talking about a fascinating photo that Gary discovered that NASA had taken in, what year was it, Gary?
It was in 2012.
2012. NASA takes tons and tons and tons and tons of photos each and every year. Is it possible, Gary, that there are other photos that NASA has taken that also have hidden information in it? Like, this is more important, this is more significant than any crop circle could ever be.
Yes, there is. Especially this will blow you away. Also, remember too, Rob, that when I tell you these things, everything I'm telling you is in the NASA photo. Okay. First of all, there's a place called Göbekli Tepe. Have you ever heard of it?
I can't say yes and I can't say no.
Okay, Göbekli Tepe is the oldest temple ever built by mankind. It's between 13 and 15,000 years old, and it's in Turkey. Okay. And what they did, they have like these. They unearthed a German archaeologist unearthed this from 1995 until 2015, and then he had a heart attack and he died. Now it's a huge tourist attraction. But what happens is in 2014, a NASA satellite took a satellite photo of Göbekli Tepe. Okay, now Göbekli Tepe, if you look at the photo, the satellite photo, and you do what I tell you to do on the NASA photo with your laptop and tilting it and doing this kind of stuff, you will see that what they unearthed, and let me just say this too, I have sent this to the museum curator over at Göbekli Tepe asking him to please try this. And what happens is you'll see that what they unearthed is, let me just say this too before I tell you what it is. What happens is they put a huge roof over this giant enclosure that they unearthed. And they put this giant roof on it to protect it, which makes total sense. But what happened is when the roof was off in 2014, I got the satellite image and I looked at it, you can see one face, and it comes out clear as a bell. And the guy has dark black hair, he has a mustache, and he's completely white, like pale white. Almost like, what's it called that they call the girls with the skin, what's it called?
The geisha girls?
Okay, like a geisha girl. Yes, it's that white with that powder. And what that is, that person that you're looking at in the satellite image is Noah. Yes, Noah of the Ark. Okay.
How do you know that? How do you know it's Noah?
What's that?
How do you know it's Noah?
Well, I know you won't. You won't know, but just because I'm telling you, first of all, you'll see it. And what will happen is then you'll look up Göbekli Tepe and you'll see a pillar called Pillar Number 43. And Pillar Number 43 explains, because they carved on it, they carved all these images on this photo. And what the photo shows is this. You see at the top of the pillar, you'll see 3 baskets. And from the basket, it tapers down almost like a diamond. It looks like a giant diamond with 3 baskets on the top. What that is, that's Noah's Ark. The Ark was not a ship. It did not have a bow or a stern. All it had to do was float. It was gigantic. It came to rest right at Göbekli Tepe. There's a big circular area. It's gigantic in front of the monoliths on Göbekli Tepe. And what happened was that face that appears, that's Noah, and it was the Noah signal. What it was saying to El, get us the hell out of here, because they were surrounded by water and they almost all drowned. But let me just say this. On pillar number 43, you'll see a giant, like I said, 3 giant, they almost look like handbags.
Okay.
And then it will taper down into like a diamond shape, and then you'll see a circle. And the circle is the earth. And the circle is just above a giant vulture that's carved out of the stone, and that represents El. How do I know all this? Because it's in the NASA photo. Okay, so just know this. If you get this, here's the other thing too. I have all the information. I have all the satellite stuff. If I could sit beside you one day, I could show it all to you. You'd see it all in about 10 hours. So also, are you still there?
Oh yeah. No, I'm here. I'm totally enthralled.
Okay, great. Well, here's the other thing too: is if you and your listeners go to the ISS 032-E-009123 for the photo, you'll see the photo that they replaced the original one with. But on the same page that will pop up, you can go to Flickr with the ISS 032, all those numbers, to Flickr, and they have the original picture there where you can download it.
Okay.
There you go.
What was your religious philosophy? What did you believe in prior to all this discovery?
Well, I was born and raised an Episcopalian, and I was baptized an Episcopalian. And they believed almost what the same thing as the Catholic religion, other than they don't have priests. The ministers can be married and have children. And my father never really he never trusted priests. He never trusted anybody who wouldn't get married.
Smart man. Smart man.
And what's that?
Smart man.
I think so too. But even though I have met many, many priests because of this, and a lot of them seem like really nice guys. Now, I don't know, but they all seem nice. But so do the rabbis. But they're all really dumb, and they all walk around like with blinders on. They can't think outside of the box. And sometimes in this life, you have to think outside the box.
Maybe they know and they just don't want to spill the beans.
No, they don't know, because when you're sitting beside these people, which I sat right beside them and I showed them on the laptop. Their reaction, it stuns them so much that most of them jump up and go, "I refuse to believe this. I didn't see that. I never want to see you again. You have to leave." That's the response. So that shows me that they really, most of them, 99%, really can't think outside the box.
Gary, our Bible tells us in the end days, beware of false prophets.
Yeah.
Have you ever been looked at as one of those false prophets?
Absolutely. I've been called that.
Really?
You're a false prophet. I said, no, buddy. I showed it to you. You saw it. You're saying that because it upsets you. That's what it does. It upsets people. But, hey, there's nothing I can do about that. Let me just say this, Rob, in my defense. The first time I went down to the river, and the first time I saw this stuff on the NASA photo, I was so excited. I said, "Oh my God, this is amazing! This is what everybody's talked about for years." And when the Jewish people go to the Wailing Wall, and they pray 3 times a day for the Messiah to show up, okay? And I show them the Messiah because he's in the NASA photo. they say, oh, no, that can't be right. I said, you pray 3 times a day for thousands of years. Eventually it's going to happen. Oh, no, you're wrong.
Gary, I've got it. Gary, I've got about 2 minutes, okay, before we have to say so long. My question is, why you? Plain and simple, why you?
Well, you know what? Like I said to you about my mother giving birth to me, and why me? I guess I hate to say this, everybody, while you're listening. I guess I'm special. Just for this one little thing, I'm special because I'm not good at math or science or anything else. But for this one thing, I'm the expert. The government should talk to me because they don't know what they have, and I know they don't know what they have.
Years from now, God forbid, when Gary passes, what's going to happen with this information? Because it seems that nobody's interested.
It's really weird, man. I actually, when I was in Jerusalem at one time, I went outside to the Temple Mount, and I yelled up at El, and I said, how is this possible? How can I know this and nobody's paying attention to me? But then, well, first of all, I won't tell you what happened because it was really weird because right while I was standing there, and I'm not exaggerating, Rob, 4 birds crapped all over me. All over me. And there were people walking by, and they started laughing. And I yelled up at Ellen. I said, okay, I get it. My bad. I didn't mean to push you. But that's exactly what happened.
Hey,
4
Gary.
birds crapped on me. It was so... People said, oh, my God, I've never seen that before.
Gary,
Whatever.
slow down, pal. We're out of time for tonight. I want you to do me a favor. Send me the link to the photos. Send me a link to the video. And I'll get this out there to as many people as I can. How's that?
Well, you're the man, Rob. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's been a great pleasure. Let's do this again because I'm sure there's more to this story than 1 hour can hold.
Yeah, there really is. But thank you so much for having me on. This was great.
My pleasure, Gary. Take care of yourself, and thanks for joining us tonight. Exo Nation,
Okay,
Gary
pal.
Parker's been our guest, and we'll be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in beautiful St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada.